Have you ever lain awake at night, your mind racing with worries you can't control? Have you ever felt a wave of anxiety hit you out of nowhere at work, in class, or even in the middle of a conversation, leaving you breathless, restless, and powerless? If you're like most people, anxiety and worry are not just occasional visitors, they're constant companions. You worry about your future, your family, your health, your career, your relationships, your reputation, your finances, your past mistakes, and the world itself. You try to distract yourself scrolling through your phone, binge watching shows, keeping busy, but the anxiety always returns, stronger than before. You wonder, is it even possible to live without this constant undercurrent of worry? Is there a way to find peace, no matter what's happening around you? The world tells you to just relax, think positive, or let it go. But if it were that easy, you wouldn't be here, searching for answers. What if I told you that there's an ancient secret, practiced for over 2,000 years, that can eliminate anxiety and worry not by changing your circumstances, but by changing your mind? It's called Stoicism, and today, I'm going to show you how just 2 Stoic principles can transform your relationship with anxiety forever. In the next few minutes, I'll share with you the story of a young woman who went from being paralyzed by anxiety to living with unshakable calm using only 2 Stoic principles. I'll reveal the science behind why your mind clings to worry and how you can break free. And I'll give you a step-by-step blueprint to master these principles in your own life starting today. But be warned, this isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be then. This is about real, lasting transformation, the kind that can change your days, your nights, and your entire experience of being alive. So, if you're ready to discover the Stoic secret that eliminates all anxiety and worry, let's begin. Meet Sarah. Sarah was 27, marketing executive in a big city, living what looked like a successful life. But inside, she was trapped. Every morning, she woke up with a knot in her stomach. She worried about her job, her performance, her relationships, her future. She replayed awkward conversations in her head, imagined worst-case scenarios, and felt like she was always one mistake away from disaster. She tried everything: meditation apps, self-help books, therapy, even medication. Some things helped for a while, but the anxiety always returned. She felt broken, weak, and alone. One night, after a panic attack left her gasping for air, Sarah sat on her bedroom floor, tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "I just want to be free." She didn't know it then, but that desperate wish was the beginning of everything. The next day, Sarah called her grandfather, a retired philosophy professor who had always seemed calm, wise, and unshakable. "Grandpa, how do you stay so calm? How do you not worry about everything?" Her grandfather smiled. "Sarah, I wasn't always calm. I used to worry about everything, just like you. But then I discovered the wisdom of the Stoics." He handed her an old, worn book, Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. "Read this," he said, "and remember, peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of the right perspective." Sarah opened the book that night, not knowing that 2 simple ideas inside would change her life forever. The first letter Sarah read was about the dichotomy of control. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The Stoics taught that all of life can be divided into 2 categories: things you can control, things you cannot control. That's it. Everything you worry about: your health, your job, your relationships, the weather, the economy, other people's opinions, falls into one of these 2 circles. Sarah realized that most of her anxiety came from trying to control things she couldn't control. She worried about what her boss thought of her, about whether her friends liked her, about whether she'd get sick, about the future, about the past. But the Stoics said, focus only on what you can control, let go of the rest. It sounded simple, but how do you actually do it? Sarah decided to try an experiment. She took a piece of paper and drew 2 circles. In the first circle, she wrote, "My actions, my words, my effort, my attitude, my choices." In the second circle, she wrote, "Other people's opinions, the past, the future, the weather, the economy, the news. Every time she caught herself worrying, she asked, "Is this in my control or not?" If it was in her control, she took action. If it wasn't, she practiced letting go. At first, it was hard. Her mind kept returning to old worries. But every time she let go, she felt a little lighter. She realized that most of her anxiety was wasted energy spent on things she could never change. She started to reclaim that energy, focusing it on what she could actually influence. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics knew. Studies show that people who focus on what they can control are happier, healthier, and more resilient. They experience less stress, less anxiety, and more satisfaction with life. Why? Because trying to control the uncontrollable is a recipe for frustration and helplessness. But when you focus on your own actions, your own choices, your own responses, you feel empowered. You become the author of your own story. Sarah started to notice a shift. She couldn't control her boss's mood, but she could control her own effort. She couldn't control the weather, but she could control how she dressed. She couldn't control the past, but she could control what she did next. Little by little, her anxiety began to fade. The Stoics had a saying, "You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond." Sarah made this her mantra. Whenever something went wrong, a harsh email, a missed deadline, a fight with a friend, she paused and asked herself, "What is in my control right now?" She learned to respond, not react. She learned to choose her attitude, even when she couldn't choose her circumstances. She learned that true freedom is not the absence of problems, but the ability to respond wisely to whatever life brings. As Sarah read further, she discovered the second Stoic principle, amor fati, the love of fate. The Stoics believe that everything that happens, good or bad, is an opportunity for growth. Instead of resisting reality, they embraced it. They didn't just accept what happened, they learned to love it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" Sarah realized that much of her anxiety came from fighting reality. She wished things were different. She resisted what was happening. She argued with life. But the Stoics said, "Don't just accept your fate, love it." Sarah decided to try this in her own life. The next time something went wrong, a project failed, a friend canceled plans, she got stuck in traffic, she paused and asked, "How can I use this? What can I learn from this?" At first, it felt forced. But slowly, she started to see every challenge as a teacher. A stressful meeting became a chance to practice patience. A rejection became a lesson in resilience. A mistake became an opportunity to grow. She stopped seeing herself as a victim of circumstances and started seeing herself as a student of life. Her anxiety began to transform into curiosity. Modern research shows that acceptance is a powerful antidote to anxiety. When you resist reality, you create tension, frustration, and stress. But when you accept what is without judgment, you create space for peace. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means seeing things clearly, without adding extra suffering. Sarah learned to say, "This is what's happening. I may not like it, but I can use it." She found that the more she accepted, the less she worried. She became more flexible, more resilient, more at peace. So, are you ready to eliminate anxiety and worry from your life? Here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice the dichotomy of control. Every time you worry, ask, "Is this in my control?" If yes, act. If no, let go. For the next 7 days, practice amor fati. When something goes wrong, ask, "How can I use this?" Look for the lesson in every challenge. Share your journey in the comments below. What did you learn? How did you feel? Support others on the same path. Let's build a community of calm, courageous, unshakable minds. As Sarah's story shows, the real secret to eliminating anxiety isn't about controlling the world, it's about mastering yourself. It's about focusing on what you can control and loving whatever life brings. It's about believing that you are stronger than your worries, wiser than your fears, and braver than you think. If this video inspired you, do 3 things. Comment below, what's your Stoic challenge? Make your public declaration. Subscribe, Join our community of calm, courageous minds. Share this video. Help someone else discover the Stoic secret. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore another ancient secret to living a better, more meaningful life. Until then, keep practicing, one calm breath at a time.